How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we're going over my double tournament Game Fest report. As you can tell from the title, I attended both the UK Game Fest events held in the UK. Well, there are 3 this weekend, but I held the 2 that were closer together. So I attended Leeds on the Saturday, and then went ahead and attended Nottingham on the Sunday, and then taking first place overall in both of them. Ended up making top 8 of both, and then getting my way all the way through Top Cut to end up take both events. So I got those nice winner Kayas, but it's more the experience, and I did it using 2 different decks, which as you can see from the screen, I use Android 18 mil and Red Jiren. So before I get into the video and show my list, I'm basically going to go over the list for each deck, then go over a quick tournament report. This is basically just about how I did through each of the events, and then I'll do my outro after. So before we do that, you get the shoutouts. Shout out first to DBS DeckPlanet for being the best deck builder in the game. Like the best thing about it is they implemented just before the events a way to export PDFs, so you can print off a PDF of your deck list and see the event rather than have to write it. Wow, that was so great. I only really did it for the Android 18 deck, so I didn't know what I was going to play for the Nottingham until I eventually chose Red Jiren. But just having that printed off, so you don't have to work, having the print off the deck list after building them and testing them, and then just handing in, it's so much time. It saves so much time. And also shout outs to the people who ran the event. So Living Realms running the event, and Jake Kitchen as well for running for TO and the Leeds event. Ran it very good, very smoothly, very well, and very enjoyable. And then to the Dice Cup and Jack Witcher for hosting and running the Nottingham event. Ran it very smooth, very effective, and it just went so nicely. And also, before we get there, I do want to mention about the format of the tournament. So these were Game Fest events, and they were best of 1, but they were best of 1 pre-side, meaning that when you start the game, you reveal your lead. Both players reveal the leader, and then you have a minute to sideboard before you play out your best of 1 game, and then you have 30 minutes to play out your game. It was a really good format. Like, best of 1 isn't great. I don't like best of 1, but having it pre-side basically a lot better than best of 1 normally is, because normally with best of 1 the issue is if you only have to play with your main deck, you don't have a side deck or anything. So if you come along against a deck that you're like, this is your worst matchup that you can't really deal with, it's just RNG, you can't do anything. But by having a pre-side best of 1, you can still have cards aside to help mitigate those kind of bad matchups, so it's not as devastating as they would normally be in best of 1. So it made it a lot easier, and it was a really nice format and very fun. But the only thing I feel that is could be changed about it is you only get a minute to sideboard, and that's not just a sideboard. That's a sideboard, shuffle, get it set up, and ready to play your game. Which a minute to do all that isn't enough time. I feel like it really should be more like 2 minutes. So you've got at least so you at least got 1 minute to go ahead and sideboard, and then you got a minute then shuffle up, get ready, and start the game. So I feel that is changes I would say for the format, but overall very enjoyable and very nice. So going on to it, so we're going to the for the first event for Leeds. I decided to take Android 18 mil because of the fact that I haven't played in person for a good while, because I don't have a locals, and also I haven't had a chance to play around because with like COVID and stuff. I try not to go out because I try not to contract COVID and just keep people safe, because I don't want to pass it on. I don't want to pass it on to my partner or family. So I've just been staying away from playing in person, and I don't like webcam because the fact that people just constantly trying to cheat. Like every single webcam event has had someone cheating or caught cheating or accused of cheating, and it's just not fun to do that. Just because and that's mainly because there's prizing online. Where's prizing online, there will be someone trying to cheat to try and get that. And Untap is fun because you get to try out anything. Everybody is on the even playing field. Everybody has access to everything. You can test. The only issue, some of the players on there, like they get very keyboard weary about rawings, where they don't know rawings and argue that they're right when they're not. You get some people that aren't very great on there, like running rogue. Like you could go on there, put meta only, and so on. They come in like Raditz when you're playing a black deck, and then it screwed. You had no proper testing, and the shuffling mechanic isn't amazing on deck, but it is a very good way to test your deck. Try it before you buy and things like that. So both of the formats are good because webcam you get to play with your actual cards, but cheaters, and Untap is good, but shuffling and opponents on there. But if you can, but really, Untap's not too bad if you can get someone you know playing against you. But because of that, I decided to go with 18 mil because I didn't know what to play, and mil is my favourite strategy in the game because I like the fact that not only do you get 2 win conditions, unlike most decks where you get to either kill by damage or win by milling, which is great. You've basically got 1 up on ways you can win the game, and it's just much more fun. And with the last ban list and the ban list over time, Vegix got errated quite a bit where people started dropping it because they felt it wasn't as good as the other black decks in the format, and because Mill wasn't used that much because of its existence. And the other thing that hurts Mill is hand destruction, and since the best hand destruction in the format, Cell Zeno was basically just destroyed, like obliterated, just removed from the game. It's there's no real hand destruction that's functioning, and green at the moment isn't in a great position, so you don't really see many green decks play. So I thought it was in a good position to try it out, and I remember 18 mil being one, and it's it's a preferable one because Cool is almost like a, how would you say it, like a pretend mill, because he's got to interact to do the mill and needs that combat to be able to do it. Whereas 18 doesn't need to worry about it, doesn't need to interact, doesn't need to attack until it awakens. You can just mitigate it, defend, get ready, and just mill them out in one fell swoop. And that's the thing is why it mills in one fell swoop to just go for one straight swing game, rather than things like Cool and stuff they mill over time, which people can then get through the deck, find their answers, and deal with it, which against 18 is a lot harder to do that. So that, and also because it's my first event playing in person again, and I wanted to try and place, I think that I felt a bit comfortable with the mill. So with that, I add this deck list. I'm not going to show off what I normally do with the content creator view. I'll be able to go bit by bit, just to show all the decks so we can go over the briefings, and I basically just cover like the main strategy. So it was the Android 18 leader, which is there's quite a few benefits with this deck. One is the fact that as soon as you start the game, you play the fill card, and the fill card is a great thing to help hinder aggro and basically just help you survive a little bit better, because of the fact that it's got this first effect here where when you or your opponent play a non-token battle card, it can't attack for the duration of the turn. I mean, the first thing they play on their turn, they can't attack of it, which means it's harder for them to, if they want to swarm the board with things, it's a lot harder to do that. I mean, you can survive easier. And especially when if you go first, they get the 2 tokens on their turn and can swing with them, and at least the first thing they swing with can then attack as well, do 4 swings at you, which is great. And then also it's got a way to self-awaken, which is amazing because you don't want to get hindered by not being able to awaken, because of its activate main where you choose a clone token on your opponent's board, remove from the game, and then you draw 1, take a life, and then you can bounce a 1-cost battle card on their board out your hand if you want to. And it's the main thing that you have to take a life, so you have to watch out when you get a turn 4. But it's more the fact that you can remove a clone token and you gain 2 cards while self-awakening yourself, and it's got is awaken is a defensive one where you flip over, you draw 2 cards. And then when you do flip over, you can attack to draw 1, which means you can attack into battle cards to get rid of them, or unison cards to help take the markers off to make it easier for you to not be hindered. And it's still got the activate main, but now instead of you still remove a clone token, but you don't draw, you don't take a life, you still bounce up to 1 battle card with entry cost of 1 on your opponent's board back to hand to help things like Dark Power Black Messiah, bounce that back so they can't make you lose 2 for each token you play in their turn. And you also now get the effects of being able to reduce the combo cost of all blue and green battle cards in your hand by 1 for the turn, meaning that if you've got in your hand the Freezer, or when you side on the Baby Golden Ape, if you got these in your hand, it makes them just 0 cost 10Ks for your turn when you swing. And that's the lead in the field. And then there's the way to win with this game is to build up tokens off this Android 21 scheme, which you build the tokens up, and it's the win by Freezer, which is how you mill them out, because you amass a load of tokens on the board, and what you do then is you play this, and it's first auto when you attack with it, and when it attacks, it's got this auto triggers where when it attacks, you choose all your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barriers, so you have to worry about if they've got barrier, and minus 30k them. And then when you do that, the other auto procs, which is when the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is decreased, your opponent places 2 cards from the top of the deck in the drop area. So you build loads of tokens, play this, swing, minus all the tokens. For every token that gets minused, they mill 2 and battle card on the field. So you end up milling a ton of cards in one fell swoop to deck them out. And the way to play it out easy, because as you can see, the freezer requires 2 red and 1 blue, and you've only got one. All the cards are mainly blue, apart from these 3 here. So you're gonna be using the Rebirth of Justice to bring it out, and this is the old card back from set 3, which for 4 energy. Activate main, choose up to 1 blue battle card in your hand with energy cost 5. Freezes red and blue, so it counts towards that. And then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and return it to his hand. So you get to play this out for 4 energy, so turn 4 at the earliest, to then play this, swing, and move your opponent out. But, as I said, the first thing either a person plays in a turn can't attack because of this fill card. So we've got these 2 cards here, that's also the non-blue cards, to help bait that out to be on them rather than freezer. So before you play the freezer, you'll play one of these. This Krillin is from set 2, back when back for set 2 before we got like commons that were foil, and it's a way to bait out that effect because it's got a permanent where if Android 18 is in your battle area or lead area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. So you normally go, before playing the freezer, you play this for free from your hand, without paying the energy cost. Then the fill will trigger, making it so Krillin can't attack, and then you can freely play the freezer and then swing and mill them out. And we also have, just in case you can't find the Krillin, we also have the Barlock, which is our Overrealm, which Overrealm 4. And you play this card by Overrealm, you draw 2 cards, and then you discard 1. And it's easy enough to get, as you can see with this deck, very easy to get 4 cards in the drop just by comboing, defending, and just using the cards, especially extra cards that get straight to the drop and stuff. So when you're going to be teaming with these cards, which just fill your drop, and this also triggers it, but then it won't stay because of the auto where when you play a black battle card, it gets placed into its drop area. But before it gets sent, you can trigger the Ever Alter to choose this to make it so it can't attack for the turn before it goes. So these are ways to bait it out. And then for the rest of it, it's just the blue battle cards to help defend. So we've got a super combo, being the best super combo, being able to put back to the bottom of the deck when you get a 4, which is, as you said, you wake them. Put back something that you don't want in your hand that might be dead, like if you've got too many of Rebirth or too many freezes because you need one of each to really pull off the win. You can put them at the bottom deck to draw new cards, which might be cards that be helpful. You got this, we got a way as well, because you might be thinking, they're getting all these tokens that are basically just 10k power, they can attack with them, but not when we've got these Unison and the battle card, Android 16. So with the Unison first, this is one that you can play out as soon as they got 1 token because of Activate Main, and not take energy as well. Because it's Activate Main where if you don't have a Unison play and you choose one of your opponent's clone tokens and root from the game, you play this card from your hand in rest mode with a marker on it. So you can sack off a token, place in rest, get to a marker, and then it's got a +2, which is going to keep getting a load of markers on, making it hard to get rid of, while also stopping them from attack because it's an Activate Main where you choose one of your mono blue leader cards, which ours is, gets 5k power for the turn, which is nice for when you get your Awakened side and your opponent's got, say, a Boo Unison that's 20k power. You can boost that and then swing with it so you got 20k into the Boo swing to take a marker off. And it also makes it so your opponent's clone tokens can't attack for the duration until the end of during their next turn. So just having this means they're never going to keep plussing to it. It means they're never going to be able to swing with a token. So you put these tokens board, it can't swing a combo with, and then it just set up ready for you to win. And Android 16 is a way to get tokens on the board fast, because with the field card you only get 2 markers, but with the Android 16 you add 2 more. Because it's got a auto where when a clone token is played by a skill by one of your entry cards, you play 2 more clone tokens. And it also is another way to stop them from attacking because it's permanent. Has the part where your opponent's clone tokens can't attack, which is so you can give them. So with these 2 on the board, you give them 4 tokens every time they start their turn, and you mass the load up to then drop the freezer and mill them out. And this is also played, so both of them can be played for free because this Android 16 also has a Activate Main, which allows you to play it from the drop area drop or hand by removing one of their clone tokens from the game. And then for the rest of the blue stuff, you have the trunks here because you can, as I said, you can establish a Unison quite easily to have this to stop certain things from being played. Then defend yourself, you have D Magic and Child's Army Reinforcements, you negates to help negate multiple attacks, because Child's Army negates 2 by negating an attack and give it a token blocker, and D Magic allows you to negate and untap 2 energy as well, to give him 1 energy to do things. And then one of the old versions of this was using things like Jiren used to use, which was Unbreakable and Villain Cell, which were 10k combos that when they were comboed they draw 1. And to replace that, we have the new Realm of the Gods Pierce Destroyers, and this functions a lot more. This is multi-personal, this guy. This is like probably the MVP of this deck in terms of support. Because it does the same, because basically what it does is if your leader card and all your energy is blue, which it will be, you choose one of your cards, it gets 10k power to battle, so it gives a 10k boost for 1 energy, like the Unbreakable do. And it's got an effect for if it's your opponent's turn or your turn. If it's your turn, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than the current energy and place it at the bottom of the deck. So that helps deal with things like Xenosin. No, not Xenosin, sorry. The 9-drop Sin Shenron in a Sin Shenron, because if they got the 9-drop on board, that will, before Rebirth Justice will bounce it, it's auto proc to make it so your freeze is then skillless and can't mill them out. So you want to remove it before you do that, and this is a perfect way to do that. And even on bottom decks, that Sin will still trigger, getting them a ball on their board and giving them 2 cards from the deck. So you're essentially getting rid of an issue for your deck and making them draw extra 1 card, and then 1 card from the deck, which is great. But if it's your opponent's turn, so if you're defending, you draw a card, then choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less and place it at the bottom of his deck. So it functions in many ways, because basically it's a blue card to charge. It does the exact same thing as Unbreakable and Cell will do, being defensively, but giving you a 10k power, 10k power to defend with. Also drawing a card. Functions how you want max power Kamehameha to do, by removing big things on the board to get rid of them that might hinder you, like the 9-drop Sin. And also has that benefit where if you do defend with it, you can bottom deck a 2-drop, say like a Dark Power Black Mass, and if they got one on board, to get rid of that hindrance out of the way. And just multi-purple is so great. And the other cards I have in there, where Intersection Fates is a way to search and make use of your energy but then get it back at the end of the turn, while also searching for your key pieces of your combo. And Ultra Instinct, Son Goku, Kamehameha to help defend easier with a 15k defense for literally 0 energy defensively. And then Beam, because Beam is just, it also helps you either defend to give you 5k boost, defend the turn, or helps you get your energy back if you need to do something on your turn. And that's for the main deck. So that is the main deck I had, but luckily with the pre-side board, I just needed to make sure that I had the total number of cards I needed in the deck, so I could use side each game. But I decided in which I now will probably main, taking out these Kamehamehas and Intersecting Fates in 1 bean, is the Baby Unison and Golden Ape. This is what you normally want to have in the deck, and I always decided in to guarantee that your mill's going to go off your kill turn. Because of the fact you play the baby down, you give it your markers by using the +2, which is drawing a card, giving you card advantage and getting the markers up to 5. And then its -5 makes it so you can play the 8 for free, because if your leader card is mono blue and you're -5, you give your leader card 15k power and double strength. And then until the start of your next turn, you can activate any mono blue card in your hand with a counter skill by choosing 2 other cards in your hand and discarding them instead of playing their energy costs. So what the ape does is basically it's got a counter skill, which is negate the counter skill and play this card. And that's great because normally it would require 5 energy, but you do -5 on the Baby Unison, and then you can then activate this counter skill to stop their counter play or counter attack that would hinder Frieza by just discarding 2 other cards in your hand to stop it. And then you get to play this to get a Never Troll from its auto and not bother bottom deck anything because you want cards on board the mill. It's just very useful, and it just, like in my finals, it guaranteed, having these guaranteed me game. Any other cards decided were Android 18 to deal with things like cards you don't want to pull out, like against Android 16. It was to help deal with the if you play the 2 cost to the ramp, when they play the 2 cost to help ramp on their turn 2, this would stop because it's can't play where play this card. And the battle card if the battle card being played is energy cost of 4 or less, it's bottom deck instead, and you can play it for 1 energy because of its permanent where if your leader is an android, which ours is, and you have a specific Unicon card with a specified cost of 2 or more, and it's your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of it by 3. So it becomes a 1 cost to stop things like that. I also had absolute release ball to help deal with certain things as well, because as we can awaken quite easily, you can go down to 4 life, and then you can use this to stop 3 cost or less battle cards. And the good thing about this one is it puts it back in their hand, so if they pay 3 for something, it puts it back in their hand as long as it doesn't deflect, and then untaps the energy you paid for it. And if you ever opt to charge at one of the freezers, if you've got too many in your hand, you can then play this for free by taking a life instead to use the counter skill. And the good thing about that is if you've tapped energy before, if you have any energy tapped, it also gets the untap to give you a plus energy and a prevention with the counterplay. Then the other two cards we have is Unlikely Protector. This is basically a Weese's Coercion, but with the benefit of, a Weese's Coercion for this deck, because you have to have tokens in play in your opponent's battle area. But it also has, but it's also better because it has the permanent where this card's skills can't be negated in any area, meaning that if you want to negate an attack and your opponent wants a counter to stop, they cannot stop it because of that permanent, which is great. And then the card that I probably will side out and try and find something different to play is Dirty Burst. I put this in for against things like U7 Goku, where they can drop the secret rare and 8-drop quite big to stop them from attacking with it, because they've got like dual attack, double strike, and triple strike and things like that. Because of its counterplay, where by paying the cost and this one blue here, I can draw cards, stop 7 cards that are cost 7 or more from attacking, and that puts a condition on the player, not the card, so they can't attack with it, and it doesn't matter if they got deflect them. But then I forgot after putting in my list and everything, that scheme does it anyway by stopping the first thing they play attack. And unless they want to keep energy, keep their awakening until they go to turn 4, then yeah, this is going to stop it. But that's the list I played, and as I said, I will be changing it, so I main deck these two and taking out these 6 and the bean that I've main decked. But essentially the aim is to just accumulate tokens on your opponent's board, survive until you got enough to mill them out, and then drop Rebirth of Justice to get freeze out, and then swing mill them out by minusing all the tokens and milling 2 for each one. And so that is the list. And with the event, essentially we played 7 rounds on the Leeds one in the first one. I ended up going against a U7 Goku, which I lost to because I misread the Rebirth of Justice that has a bounce 1, so I couldn't milling him enough, and we carried on thinking it was up to 1, but then we realised after that it was choose 1, so he would have survived, and I got the game lost because it was my card, and he did ask what I did, and I misread it. And thanks to that, I started off the event with a loss, like a little bit down, thinking start off on a bad start. But luckily for the round 2, I got a bye, meaning I could then relax, basically look for my deck, read my cards, think about the deck a bit more to understand it a bit easier, knowing that that affects the extra card because it's an old extra card, and it's the first time properly playing the deck, and get my head back in the game and ready to go through. And then for round 3, I played against Soul Striker. Shout out to Cameron for playing the deck. Yeah, I played him in both events because he attended both as well. And this is one of the 2 games where I had to kill by damage and not mill, because it got to turn. I only saw 1 rebirth early, and I charged it because I thought I've got 3 more. So I kept going on trying to find another one. But before I could find another one, he sided in the Zeno Unison. So he got to turn 4, paid 4 to play it. Put another copy on, -5 to remove all the tokens I accumulated, and also my fill cards. So I no longer had the easy option of milling out, so I had to push through damage. But luckily he was quite low on hand for doing that. Well, I still had quite a large hand because I didn't really play anything or waste resources. And I managed to get to a position where I got the Baby Unison down, +5 on it, defend with Baby Hatch for that turn to keep it at 5 markers, and then was able to -5 and had 2 Baby Apes to help deal with so when I swung with my lead to put in that double strike pressure, I was able to Baby Ape his golden ape is Baby Hatch, and then when he tried to ape my ape by paying 5 because he had 5 energy open, I was able to second ape to stop his ape and make it so he's lost 2 cards in hand, or 3 cards in hand included in the card he discarded for Hatch. Didn't stop my attack, the attack still goes through, and I've got a Baby Ape and Hatchak and a Unison to still kill him with. And push through game there. And then for the 4th round, I played against Yellow Chunks against my buddy Ryan. Shouts to him, Ryan K. Very good player, and I think this is our 2nd time playing. Like, 1st time playing in person, 2nd time playing overall. He was playing Yellow Trunks, and he got to a point where I think I went first. And I was just trying to hold off, trying to get the mill turn. And when it finally got to the turn I could mill, he had the Yellow Trunks on it. So lucky I had the Krillin to bait out. But by using the Krillin bait out, that rested it and triggered him to be able to drop Poutine. So I had to try and force out Poutine, but luckily I also had my Overwhelm to overwhelm that, trigger the Poutine, and drop the before I drop the freezer. But also get my draw in. So now the fill was already triggered from them for the Krillin. Both his poutine and trunks were triggered to stop resting my freezer when I dropped it, and I was able to also -5 my unison, had the baby ape ready, so I could rebirth, bring the freezer out, and when he tried to use the trunks, no, not the Goku counterplay to bring it in rest mode, I was able to goldenate that, get stop that from coming out, not even the board, go straight to drop, not hitting the freezer, drop freezer, then swing a freezer, mill him out. I think I milled him 38 cards when he only had 28 in deck, and took it by a mill. And then for the next game, I had round 5. I had Gogeta Zeno. So this is the ever game where I had to kill instead of mill, because of the fact that it was going well. I was going first. I kept going through trying to dig from my piece to ready to mill. Established the baby unison ready to get the 5 markers. So when he swung the next time, baby hatched, stop him from attacking. But then he sided in the Mecha Gabura, so he played Mecha Gabura, calling my freezer. So next turn I couldn't mill him out. So then I had to. So then basically I couldn't mill on that turn, and now I had to defend his next turn without baby hatch to back me up, my safety net. So I have his turn and kill him next turn. So fortunately I had one of my beans still. I managed to have my beans to boost my leader to make 20k, which made it hard to attack, because he could still attack with all the tokens I accumulated on his board as well. So he had all those to attack with and put combo pressure on. But he did unfortunately misplay, where he forgot about my field card, so that's the first thing he plays from attacking, and dropped his last SS3 Gogeta down, which then was stuck there, couldn't attack, and he couldn't combo off and get back anymore to try and drop it again. And I was able to combo out, but the combo out, I had to combo off my apes and my freezers and stuff to help defend. But luckily, in trying to kill me, he was tapped out, very few cards in hand, and only had 2 cards in life. So, and where he left my unison trying to kill me instead of going for the unison, he was then killed on the clapback with the unison in the -5 and stuff. And then for round 6, I went against James Mirror with his or James Mirror, I can't remember his name. Sorry, James, if I've said it wrong. With a Caller Mill, so a mill matchup, and this is where it was a lot easier for my deck to mill than his, because his needs interaction with the combo step to bring out the callers and mill stuff, whereas I just need to sit back, drop the freezer, and go at him. He was unfortunately not able to see a unison or like get the stuff to make it harder for me to combat, and he wasn't getting any cards from his life, and I was just there accumulating cards, getting ready, and I was able to just drop the freezer because he wasn't able to get a unison, so I was able to drop my freezer, swing, mill him to like almost so I can get about 5 or 6 cards left in deck, milling out most of his things, like even his secret rare and stuff as well. And then on his next turn, he had the choice of either trying to kill me, which I could defend quite easily to stop him, or try and kill the freezer so it's not there for next turn and hope I don't have a second freezer. And he managed to eventually kill it, putting in I defended it with a few first few attacks to kind of make it so it could survive, and he eventually able to kill it, but I had another freezer to drop and mill him out. And then for the last round, I had against Gogeta Zeno against my buddy Dav. Shouts to him. He also topped as well, and that was my ever loss of the game, because this was one of the games where I didn't see my baby hatch to help defend, and he got to a point where he's getting loads of things on board, and he was able to he started in Dark Power like I say, and I forgot all about my leader could bounce it on his awakened side. So when he dropped that, I figured I couldn't get rid of it. I ended up scooping, and we did. It wasn't until after he reminded me, and I was like, oh, I forgot. And we did try to look out for what we had in hand to see how far we could have, how well I could have defended it, and which I probably could have defended and maybe finished the next turn, but I had to push through, and because he had 1 energy open, and I just went for dropping freezer, hoping he didn't have petrification, and unfortunately he had it, so he was able to stop that and end my game. But thanks to Dav being in top cut and only losing 1 game and having a bye, I was able to sneak into top 8 at 8th place. Thanks to that, and proceed to go through. And so with the top 8, I managed to get. Unfortunately, I had to play my buddy Ollie. BO notation, shouts to him. Link to his channel being down below, because he did end up coming first in Swiss with Blue Bojack, because he's a big Blue Bojack fan and plays the deck very well and is like very invested in it. So if you want to learn about Blue Bojack, go check out his channel in the description below, and he'll have a video about his tournament report and his deck and stuff on his channel. I recommend you check it out if if you like the deck. And unfortunately, it was a bad matchup for him coming against this because he had no raw out to it, so he didn't side in trunks or anything like that. Because just like with many some decks that are type base, like Under 16 and Bojack are, putting too many cards to answer things can hurt the archetype and the strategy. So I just got a point where I dropped my freezer, milled him down to 1 card left in the deck, and that was it. But we did have a bit of fun messing about before I passed turn to win it, which confused a lot of onlookers, wondering which is his life, the 8 cards face down or the 1 card face down, which is quite fun. So unfortunately, I managed to knock my team up. But good thing about it is both members of our team that attend the event managed to top. So that's a good point for our team, the Scrub Squad. And for top 4, I ended up going against Peter Dance, playing Gogeta Zero. Shout out to Peter, he did really well. He managed to get to all the way to top 4. I think coming in 4th place overall. And this was another one because all the Gogetas in the decks, when I played them, this is probably the most complicated matchup for this because they can drop a lot of stuff, do a lot of attacks, and you got to really think about how you sequence your plays and like defending and when they drop your negates and stuff. And he got to a point where he got to his turn 3. And he swung. I let it go through because I thought I'll be fine for this turn. And he dropped his Kai Secret Rare, and so he paid energy for that. And only 2 left. And I had to think about it because if I was fine with it dropping, because I had the baby unison set up, and I decided to trunks it back to hand because if he wanted to play it again, then get rid of my baby unison, so that I can guarantee golden apes there to stop petrification because he milled 2 during the game. He had to drop it again and have 1 energy, and he either plays that. Then it could put him in a situation where, after he dropped it again, he either had to try and kill me that turn through damage, or use the Kai to remove my unison from board, but then leave him with no way to protect him from me milling out next turn, or bait me into thinking he has petrification, but then but if he couldn't get any markers off my baby unison, then I could just -5 and I might have the ape to do it. Unfortunately, I didn't have the ape, but he did try to aggro me instead, and luckily I had baby hatch to just end his turn after forcing him in, after he paid his last energy to make sure I ended that turn and went to my turn to mill him out. But good job to Peter getting top 4, getting to 4th place, and yeah, it's a really good player. Like, it's so much fun to play against Peter. And then for the finals, it was nice chill finals because I got to play against my buddy Ira Tom Smith in the finals, so it's more relaxed, not have to worry because we've both been testing. Like, we have our testing chat, which we just keep we were speculating, like just practicing and just like come up with theories about what the side and stuff, just practicing for the event. And we ended up making it to finals together. And this is one where we both knew what we were playing. It's like all this. Like, I knew what he was going to decide for this. He knew what I was going to put in for this because we been discussing it all week, and also knew beforehand. We tested the day before a little bit as well. So when it comes to it, I managed to win the die roll. So I went first, started putting tokens on this board, set up my unison and stuff, and I managed to get the 8 sided in the 18 as well. And so I decided more than 7 like I normally do. So when it comes to his turn 2, and he wanted to try and ramp, stopped him from that, so he couldn't get on turn 3 get his baby boo unison out. That I just kept going through, and it got to a point where I put down the baby unison, and he started trying to pressure that loads and tried to get it down. So he had to get that down because if he left it enough to where I could -5 easy enough, then I could just do that and guarantee my golden apes are alive. And in doing that, I let it go through because I never had a unison in hand. And then he went for a bit of damage with this last attack of the turn, went for damage. Now I had to think because he plays the under 21, but I didn't realise he was only playing 2. And he ditched, so he ditched 2 on his first 2 swings with his lead, ditched two of them, so that way he could draw more. And that was all of them, but I didn't know that. I thought he might have a third. So it was either defend that attack so I don't lose the under 21, or take that attack and risk him not that and hope he don't have 21, which he didn't. But when considering that, the only cards I had in hand that I could combo with were my 1 freezer, which I needed to mill him out, and my 2 golden apes, where I needed to guarantee I could mill him out. So I just let the damage go through, banking it, and then on my last turn, on the turn before his my last turn and his last turn, I put down my use my unison uptick to play another one uptick to add 7 markers on, because I had baby hatch in hand to defend. Basically end his next turn, and I just spent the time digging through to try and see if I could find a Trunks. I managed to get a Trunks counter play, which I didn't need anyway because he didn't have a never enter 21. And then as soon as he attacked on his turn, baby hatchet, had the Trunks counter play to make sure that if he did try to go 21, it would just stop it from coming out. And then on my turn, literally just -5 the baby, play a Krillin to basically bait out my Fields effect, use the Rebirth Address, play the Freezer, baby ape his Trunks, and then swing baby ape his Mafuba to then mill him out and win the game and take in the first at the Leeds event. It was a really good event. It was really well run, and yeah, I had a lot of fun milling. Like, it was so much fun playing the mill, and being able to take it after not playing in person for a while was great fun. But that was the Leeds event, and then we all went for food afterwards, and then dropped people off, headed to get some rest and figure out what I was going to play. And during that, the 2 options I had for playing at the Nottingham Game Fest were either ones I wanted to play were either Yellowish Samasu, which did well the day before, and it's something I want to play because I do like it. I've been testing the deck; it's been fun. Or Red Jiren, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get all the pieces to build Samasu and tinker with it to figure out how else to build it. So I went with Red Jiren in the end because it's the one I was most comfortable, and I had to build a side deck for it. So Jiren deck I played was basically this. Just changing out the Champa for the Kai, and yeah. So with this, it's basically just focusing because with this lead, it's like this deck's very aggressive, and I attribute my wins for the Nottingham Fest, the second fest afterwards that I won as well, with the die roll already, because the only game I lost the die roll, and all the other games I won the die roll. So I felt like that was important because turn 3 is where I pop off and go ham. And the fact that the thing with this deck is you can easily set up the chains and just go quite wide with the board, which is quite nice, and you can get a lot of attackers that can't be really dealt with. And so with this deck, we got the Leader's effect, which once again, just like with the Endless 18 deck, has a way to self-awaken so you can't be stalled out, which is great. And on both sides it has the auto, which allows you to evolve on your opponent's turn when they attack by doing the Spirit Boost, which is great. And then the Awaken allows you to gets you 1 energy while drawing, which is good. But also the fact the built-in self-awakening also helps establish your chains by taking a life, look top 7, play a 1-drop of either of these, and to make sure I didn't whiff I could whiff as little as possible, I put in 12 targets, being the 2 1-drop Jirens, which are the Searcher and the Draw one, and a Kunchi as well, which is draw and also removal for some little weenies, which actually come in handy quite a lot this version rather than the other one that just draws. And on the Awakened side, it's got a nice benefit of the fact that it's got the second auto, which is limited to, so twice a turn. If I evolve with a red Universe 11, my leader gains 5k power, so I can put my leader up to 25k for its swing, which is great, and swing the draw, and still has the effect to allow me to actually evolve my opponent's turn. So with the chain, I went for four, as I said, 4 of each of the 1-drops to help make sure I don't mill off my lead, and so I can have enough to build the chain. And luckily, good thing with this 1-drop Jiren here is that you can put him from the drop back to the deck, use that to main, which is discard a card, bottom deck this, and find one of these 2 here from your deck and add to your hand. So you got the consistency of that, but also making sure you keep 1-drops in your deck if need be. And then we have 4 of each of these evolve chains because of the 4 and the 5, because they're the ones that evolve, and they've got all of them have a limit on. So the 4-drop has a limit on the auto, which is when you evolve, draw 1 minus 10k something, but you can evolve as many times. And these 2 have a limit on the evolve. You can use the evolve skill once, but they cost energy. So this one costs 1, and this one costs 2, and this one and the 8-drop needs to have 3 energy to do it. And the 5-drop has nice protection, where if it will be removed by your opponent's skill, you can either detach 2 guys from underneath it or take a life to stop it from being moved from your battle area, which came in really handy, and dual attack on a 19. It also has a slight benefit from defensively, be able to when you evolve it, you draw a card and choose another card in your another one of your cards with your leader or red or Universe 11 battle cards and give it 1k power. So if you've got another copy, you can make it 20k instead of 19. And just having that pressure of 90k dual attack to keep attacking, that has protection from removing from effects, so it's really handy. And then 8-drop Jiren was my barrier removal, just when you play it, minus length through barrier by 35k. And also being very big pressure because it's double strike, 35k, and its activate main allows you to detach a piece from under it, so normally one of these 1-drops, so you can bring them back or even use this effect. To restand and give your leader 5k, so you can swing for 2 swings with it, which is huge, and even giving your leader an extra 5k to potentially have it as a 30k swing, which is fantastic. And in the standard of the red staples, been like Broly, Vegeta Royal Evolution, Champa, and for the Unison package, Yamcha and King Piccolo. Best super combo in the Raditz, those kind of super combos. Then we have this Jiren, which is a nice way to start up your chain, or you can get your combo power, because if your leader is Universe 11 and you discard this card, you play up to 2 Universe 11 cards, and you cost 1 from your drop area, but the skill's negated. So you either bring out 2 of these to start the chain again, or turn this 5k combo into 2 5k combos, which is value. And then Pam being the best secret rare, being great for defense. It's in like a mini baby hatch in a sense, because it stops all battle cards when you attack, and your opponent has to be at 3 energy, I think. Is it 3 energy, or you have to be? Oh no, if you are 3 or more energy, which is fine. And Barlock is aggressive overall and makes sure we can push through damage easier for free, and quite required to punish people trying to defend, especially with these token blockers, which are the main negates people use nowadays, to help. Or if they want to play something on your turn, punish them for doing that, and then testing opposition to help defend against multiple attacks. A lot easier, but also taking life to help you get down when people try to take you from 5 to 3. And also, the one tech I was doing was Vegeta Resolve Renewed, which is what I'm probably going to take out this Vegeta Royal Evolution for, to have never copy this, because it's coming clutch for a few things. Because when you get the 3 or more energy, it's reduced by 1, and it's reduced by 2, so it becomes a 1 cost to use it. And its counterplay is really nice, where if the battle card being played has 15k power or less, it's placed in drop area instead. And it's a lot more beneficial than, say, the Beerus Ball, because that needs you to be on 4 life, which not a lot of people attack my leader through the tournament to push me to try and kill me. They mainly try to control my board, because I can amass a wide board. And this then is also still 5k combo after you've done that to combo off to push through pressure. And I think one of the real MVPs of this deck was the Topo Unison. So this is my unison of choice to allow me to evolve in my opponent's turn, and it can incubate quite a lot of markers where it's also, when a red battle card evolves, it gives me 5k power for the turn, so on my turn it's gaining 2 markers with the +1 and when I evolve, and it's also become 10k, which when your opponent's not awakened, you can apply pressure. Just the less life they have makes it for you get later game to turn 3, which is really later game for this, to just smash them with multiple attacks. And its +1 is just allowing you to play more 1 cards from your hand, and then until you play a red battle card from the hand with energy cost of 1 in rest mode. But the main thing is it's -7, because where some people would go for this because they'd fear having that to evolve on their turn, which I don't think is great. It's better to attack my lead. And the ones that try to do, and then some people left it, like give me a load of markers because they didn't really care about it, and focus on my board and my life. And in some games I would get up to more than 7 markers, 7 markers exactly, and actually use this effect to -7, activate main. If your opponent has 3 or more life, deal 1 damage. So even in the final, I managed to sometimes get people down to 3 life, and then do the -7, burn them a life, and then be able to swing from a double strike with my 8-drop, or just put pressure now they've had less life on their to deal with. So that was the list. That helped me get to win Nottingham. And for the side deck, I was going to lend my Android 18 deck to someone for the next event, but they decided they wanted to play something different instead, because they didn't have a lot of time to test it and think about it. And another person who wanted to play it didn't end up turning up, so no one decided to play the event. But I thought I still wanted to decide for the deck just in case someone else was playing it at the event. And it's one of those decks where it's just really annoying to deal with, like quite hard to deal with, and I want to try and deal with it as easy as possible. I feel red deals it the easiest way, because the main thing to deal with it really for this is when they attack, when they play the freezer, -it with Yamcha and counter -2 after they play off the field after the extra card, and then when you attack, Wolfang Fist it, so it gives a 0 dice, but game mechanic is not that it still wipes your board, but it doesn't mill you, which is real play. But I sided in this baby. I had this baby sided, so I can deal with it without getting it to that point. Because as a Union Sword Field, where you choose one battle card and place it under this card's cost, meaning you can choose a token, put under it, which gets it removed, and fail to find because there's no, and yeah, just fail to find. Because the only cost is putting a mark under it, and then just keep doing that. Just keep grabbing tokens, put all the tokens under it, and just remove all the tokens with just this one drop. And since I know how strong the deck was, I wanted to make sure I had an out to it. Then for the rest, we had Mai to deal with blue, and because I hate blue, and I always have this red decks. And Shu as like this version's deck to deal with Android 16, that's 2-drop and everything like that have 5k power, even Poutine and stuff like that. Did add Jiren just in case I went against blue and they managed to stall out until turn 7 to deal with turning the tide. And then, and also had Violent Raise to help deal with things going like quite big and quite wide. And then I only feel like you need one overarm. I only put one overarm choice just to make sure I didn't, because I had at least, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-red cards for charging, and just in case I managed to get a load of them with cards I didn't want to charge, I want to reduce the chance of that. So I only put in one overarm, but I had in my side deck 2 overarm options because the Bardock was for being aggressive, just to drop down, have 2 25k, so just keep the aggression going. And depending on the matchup, I had 2 things I could switch in to deal with certain things. So if my opponent would drop down big things at 6 cost or more, like lots of them, like Gogeta, Zeno, and Shenron, I could play this for free to remove it using his auto, which when you do overarm it, choose the opponent's battle cards range, cost 6 or more, and send it to warp. Nice tech to deal with things like that. And if I needed to deal with my opponent's board when they drop little things, or a mirror match and stuff like that, just drop battle cards and don't want to deal with them. I dropped instead I put in the Secret Identity to deal with their board, or even if they get a lot of tokens or stuff, get rid of those as well. And it's just, they're all 25k, so the same power, but it allowed me to switch my overarm to what suited me best for that matchup. But that was the list I played, and also getting first place. And for this one, we didn't go to full 7 rounds. It ended up at round 5 because there's only one defeat after that. So with this one, I played a lot of the same deck as well, really, because my first matchup for round 1 was Dav again, playing Gogeta Zeno. So I got to play the person I lost to yesterday again in this game, in this event, and it's straight off of round 1. But luckily, since he topped the day before, he decided to change up the deck, play it a little bit differently. So he went with more of a skillless package than he was playing the just normal Gogeta Zeno kind of stuff. And I remember how he played. I learned from the turn he played before and tried to play it, so I tried to aggress him and keep him back. And it got to a point where I was like, right, I'm going to try and kill him. Went all in, put him down to 1, but then I couldn't kill him in the end. So I was like, try to push it in, so I have to defend now. And where we were just trying to go back and forth, just control until I went all in. It got to a point where we ran out of time because I Violent Raised him, which kind of shocked him a little bit, ruining his game plan that he was trying to go for, and meant that he had to figure out how to kind of finish me off, sequence it differently to how he was originally going to do, and we ended up running out of time. So before he could finish me off, we unfortunately ran out of time, and I won via time. And then for round 2, I played against Yellow Trunks. Shout out to Stefan. Nice guy. I've played against a few 4 and done some trades with him as well. He was playing Yellow Trunks, and he even said he was going to play Red Jiren as well for this event, but then went for Yellow Trunks instead. And with our game, I won the die roll, so I went first, because as I said before, I won for any game I won the die roll. And for this one, I just made sure anytime he dropped the Yellow Trunks, the one that Floodgate, the free cost, I would bait out the Trunks in some way, shape, or form, or leader or something like that, and then evolve up into the 8-drop Jiren and just remove the barrier so I don't have to deal with it and just keep applying pressure. And over time he just ran out of hand a bit and just managed to win on time by having more life than he did. And then round 3, I played against never Yellow Trunks. I played a lot of these today, And once again, it's another person I played yesterday, being Ryan K. Shouts to me once again. And in this one, he tried to go for the. I won the die roll, went first again, and then on his turn 3, he went for his 8-drop play. But luckily, I was able to negate the attack of both his leader and I think he swung his leader first to get the set up for the 2 cards, and then dropped the 8-drop. But when he attacked with it, I managed to negate the attack, so he couldn't use the activate battle to chaos on my board. Then on my turn, I set up a second 8-drop to remove it, and then pushed through, costing damage. And when he had only 1 energy, he had to figure out how to deal with it, and ended up just pushing through and killing with multiple 8-drop swings and leader cards swings, and just finishing him off with overwhelming aggro. And then for round 4, I played a third yellow trunk, so like 3 yellow trunks in a row. I felt I was confident in this one, but this is the game where I lost a die roll and ended up losing. It was against Axel Bell. Shouts to Axel, played very well, and well-deserved win. He managed to, where he went first, he managed to get me down before I could awaken and get to my turn 3. Managed to drop, did the same as Ryan, dropped his 8-drop, but unfortunately I didn't have to negate for this one. Managed to put me from 5 to 2 with his triple strike crit, making me lose my Panzeno secret rare. So I lost my secret rare I could use to be defensive, and put me to a point where I had to think a little bit differently because I only had 2 life. And it got so on my turn, got rid of his 8-drop and tried to go for it and punish him, get a lot of cards down. But then he was able to clap me back, and it got to a point where he was able to drop the wrestling and then drop the poutine, and I chose not to Vegeta resolve renewed because I wanted to try and kill him, and and I didn't want to pay the energy for it, and that was a mistake because that ended up hindering me a little bit more in the point as well. And because he put me down to 2 life, I was more wary, and that made me question if I wanted to hit the poutine or not, which I think cost me it more. But yeah, I just take it, played very well, and put me down to X1, so I had to think a little bit more about making sure I can go through. And for the last round, I had Soul Striker, the same person I played the day before. Shout out to Cameron for but he was playing a different one. I think he was playing more mono blue this time, because I think he sided out the blue-green stuff. And once again, I won the die roll. I managed to just keep aggroing down, just keep pressuring before. And he was changing his units, so I don't think he put in the Zamass this time because it's a different deck. But he was playing the promo Gogeta Unison to help drop things to not so if I attack with leader, you can mitigate the damage that way. So I managed to on one point try to force him out to drop the Gogeta when I attack my leaders, so he doesn't take the damage. But before that, Quartz Kide. So when he did that, he would warp 2 from hand, and then I'd remove it by reducing the power on it, and just keep hitting. And it went on, dragged on a bit because I've sided out the Vegeta result renew because I didn't think it'd be useful. But then he sided in the Oceanus negate to help make it so I was because I was drawing loads to help like mitigate my deck, try and mill me out. But he was only able to see one in the game, couldn't see any more, and I was able to just pressure him down, push through hard, and just like aggro him down so he just couldn't, and just died for damage. And that ended up putting me at 4-1, leaving me in 4th place in Swiss, and putting me in the top cut. And for the top cut, for top 8, I ended up getting a rematch with Axel in the top 8, getting another chance to try and defend my loss, and yeah, go again. And this time I won the die roll instead of him, and able to do the same thing I was doing for most people, pressured down, and it come to a point where drop my 8-drop on him to just pressure hard down on his lead, putting him down to 3 life. Then on his turn, he went for on his turn 3, he went for 8-drop play. Once again, and this time I was able to negate it and stop from attacking it and doing the activate battle, because he had to swing his lead first to get the things on board and then evolve. I think even taking up his trunks he had on there as well, so he had to get the Vegeta out. And I was like, yeah, negate your attack so it can go off. And then my turn, deal with it, swing it his lead, managed to as well just like put pressure him down. He started in time magic, I think, to stop my 8-drop from me standing, but I was still able to detach a piece to give my leader 5k, but I just couldn't restand with it, and just pressured down. And before I did any attacks, I did the Koitsukai to give my to allow myself to put that pressure on him, where if you did want to counterplay with anything like a Frieza or a Goku, you would lose cards from hand. And after I did that, he tried not to do that and just defend everways with like just combo power and stuff. Kept pressuring down, forced him to use cards to help deal with my stuff, and got to a point where he's just on 1 life left. I think he token negated 1 attack, was able to evolve my 4-drop Jiren and remove the token, and then once he was on 1 life, I played I had my Unison to go in overrun, so I did second Koitsukai in my drop to mean that if he did want to stop my overrun, he would lose 4 cards in hand. So I overrun Bardock, forced him to Goku. He got the troll, but then he lost 4 cards in hand. But luckily from the Koitsukai, I was able to put 2 back that were dead and didn't need the troll into my Pan and a super combo. And then when he dropped the Goku, I was able to use my Yamcha, because I still had the Unison with markers on, to drop the Yamcha, get rid of the Goku signet block, swing with the Yamcha to drop a card out of his hand to defend, because he was only on 1 life, and then drop the Pan, swing with it, get the combo with the tank, super combo to at least get the 10k but not the troll. And he used, unfortunately, thanks to the Yamcha, 5k off, being out combo the Pan, and end up losing from that. So managed to get my revenge and put myself in the top 4. And just like with both events as well, with both the Fest events, in top 4, we all made a pact to agree that instead of having the weird prize structure people that Bandai had, where 4th place gets no secret rare, but first gets 2 and first and 3rd get 1, we all agreed that no matter what the outcome, first would get a winner Kai, and then 2nd, 3rd, and 4th would get a non-winner Kai. So that way, no one who got top 4 would leave without a Kai to make it fair. And luckily, both for the Leeds one and the Nottingham one, we all agreed that. And then for my top 4, I went against Blue Baby, and this one was one I didn't expect to be there, and I thought I'd have a decent matchup with, because I had the Brody Crown, so I dug for those. And luckily, I won the die roll as well. So on my turn, I was able to just keep applying board, just bring out the chain attacking, because for Blue Baby, it doesn't really play battle cards apart from defensively. So I made sure to keep trying to use my crown, which he kept bottom decking it. And then when it got to my turn 4, after, because I went first, I was able to get my trigger a Koitsukai to make it so if you really want to play a card and counter anything, you'd lose 2 cards around. And then play Blue Baby to try and see if I can see what's in his hand and rip something out, which forced him to counter play a card, lose 2 cards in hand, and then just keep applying pressure. And I had all 4 super combos from drawing over time. I was able to push for, keep pushing through. I think I even burned him with the Unison as well, and then just keep applying pressure, even swing through 2 Mafubas, to then just finishing him off with a Unison swing and all my super combos, and just keep pushing down, because he had the combo. He had to lose at least 4 cards in hand, combo to counterplay the Broly, and to negate with a the crab guy, Mechiorp, which meant he could defend the cards, and also I was able to drop Yamcha to have even more swings on when he dropped the Mechiorp. So he lost 2 cards in hand and lost the Mechiorp to combo with, and just put pressure and just aggro him down so he couldn't get to his turn 4 to establish Blue. And then for the last round, for the finals, I ended up playing once again my buddy Luke Jackson. Shouts to him for getting all the way, heeding my advice on playing King Piccolo and getting all the way to the finals and having a much better time than he did the day before. So once again, I never relaxed finals, both someone I travelled up with, and we're organising going to the event together and just testing and discussing what we're going to do in the finals. So nice, relaxed, casual game finals. And once again, I won the die roll, and literally just kept establishing a board and just pressured through and just hammered it down. And just he did have a point where he did drop onto his turn 3 the SSB Kaioken that went my board with I think 3 of the 5 drop, a 4 drop, and loads of 1 drops. But luckily, I was able. I just used the effect on 2 of the 5 drops to take a life each to not lose them, and where he wasn't where he was tapped out. He just ended his turn next. He had a Pan-Seeker Rare. Defended his turn with the Pan-Seeker Rare, but I kept punish, and then defended on his next turn, defending it quite easily. And then on my turn, dropped Brody Crown to look at his hand because he left 2 energy open to defend with. See what's hand, rip out his super combo, and then just hammer down and finish him off by going all in on a Jiren the Avenger to basically end the game in a good fashion of making him die to the 1-cost little Jiren. And that was it. Managed to take back-to-back Game Fest with 2 different decks, which I'm pretty happy about. Got 2 winner Kais, and I'm going to try and see if I can make it a triple by attending the Game Fest in Cardiff, Wales this upcoming Sunday. And yeah, try and see if I can do it with a different deck. I'm considering the main deck I'm thinking of playing, because I feel like I do a lot better and I do well if I play a deck that I enjoy and want to play and want to enjoy playing. Because every games times where I've want to play, I've not played the deck I really want to play. Like a good example of that would be for the UK, it was the EU the UK finals in Coventry. Or no, the EU finals in Coventry before the big finals. And I really wanted to play the set 60 Gogeta because I thought it had a good, it was a good rogue deck to take that had a good effect to deal with the current meta and the strategy, but I couldn't get the cards to, and it is even proven by Diego when he won the whole event playing the same, a similar idea, that it was a good choice, and that's just what I like to do. Once I figure out a deck that I like to play and want to play and feel like I'm comfortable with, I normally do pretty alright. I do well. But it was such a fun event, such fun doing it, like traveling around, like sitting in Leeds for the first time and Nottingham for the first time because I've never been there before, and having a great events. And once again, shout out to the Dice Cup and Liver Realms for hosting 2 great events, and to Jake and Jack for doing a really good job TOing them and just keeping it all together and running a nice smooth event and making a really enjoyable experience. So if anybody's going to the Cardiff, I'll see you there. I hope to have fun playing it. I'm looking, as I said, as I was trying to say, I'm looking to play at the moment as Mono Black Skillless Kid Coup for the event, because that's a deck that I just think it's got a good concept to it. I just need to figure out the theory a bit more. And yeah, if you have not gone to a Game of KFS events, go to them. They have great participation. It's a great experience, and it's in person as well, which is the best part. So once again, thank you for watching this video. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Liking the video, so if you like this bit in detailed description of the deck and report, and see the list that I won with, if you want to try them out as well. Comment down below if there's anything I missed or any questions you have about this or anything in general. I'll try and cover it. And also feel free to subscribe, because it helps me get to my goal of 1,000 subs on the channel, which I'm currently a quarter of the way there. And we're only 2 away at this current moment from getting to 300, which will then trigger a giveaway to give away a premium set, a premium pack, or a premium set of the Realm of the Gods set 16. Also, I will try and get I'm just waiting on the list for the events I went to, just waiting on to get the list and get permission to use them, and trying to find out the lists for the London one at Dark Sphere that was also on the Sunday, which had 33 players. Trying to see if we can get a breakdown of all the Game Fest events this weekend for all 3 events, and see the list to see how the UK meta plays out. Because it'd be nice if we can start getting more coverage of the UK meta to see how it's unfolding. But once again, thank you for watching, and feel free to watch the next video, and I'll see you either at commentary or in the next video. Bye for now.